can you just give me that abbreviation, explanation what you're talking about? Because I think a lot of people cannot understand what is GPP blah, 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 protocol. I say, hey, I create this super space rover that will fly to the moon. And he
Let's
asked me,
guess the
"Hey,
first question.
the first question is how much money you made from it?" He spoke about white hacker or something, right? Before, and
Yes,
they
white
just
hacker.
hack him.
Or ethical
Yeah.
hacker.
Never click the phishing links in the emails.
No, put the cat in microwave to dry.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, this
I
is-
have no idea why do they restrict us from doing that, to be honest. But
Yes, that's why the big companies are scared.
hey, hello to everybody who joined our podcast today. This is the third or fourth episode, I believe, of the Pink Glasses podcast, where me and Vlad are talking about different technological news, different interesting stuff, things that happening around the world of tech, and trying to discuss different controversial things happening in the technology area as well. Today we have an incredible guest. It's not just our two talking about the technology this time. Today we have Nayao, who is the program management specialist who was working with lots of different banks and different financial institutions, specializing in cybersecurity, big data, fintech, and lots of other things. But I think instead of 1,000 words, maybe Nayao, maybe you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi everybody. Hi, Inspirus and young souls. My name is Nayao. I was from Taiwan, but been working in IT, cybersecurity, compliance, governance, and privacy for many, many years, mostly in the banks and some technology companies and healthcare. And I'm very happy to be invited to this session. And for sure, we're going to have a great time and good talks.
Awesome. And thank you for joining. It's a pleasure to have you. This is the first time that we have somebody, except of two of us, to join this podcast. So we are sorry in advance if something goes wrong, but we're going to be doing our best. Anyway, the topic we're going to be discussing today is, again, will be related to fintech. This theme does not let us go that easily. And we'll be talking about the financial regulations, different security standards, such things as EULA and all the other ones. And actually, Vlad, I would like to hear your thought about it because both me and Nayo are working in the fintech industry and we know a little bit about it. But as long as you are mostly a hardware guy and you're mostly in the robotics and entrepreneurship, what are your thoughts about these old regulations?
Okay, guys. Hello, everyone, again, and thank you for joining us. And I am kind of pin guy today, so I'm just wearing my pin glasses because I'm dumb on it, so I don't have a clue about what I'm speaking. So I just want to try to understand if I put my money in bank and if I have my input my privacy data there or any financial institute, is that can be safe or everything that going around internet and data collection is it can be hacked anytime and from anywhere. So I got some topics that about the Russians for sure that try to hack the national Chinese bank, and so I want to discuss this, and I want to hear how you protecting my personal data, so we can make it transparent and make flow to those people that listening to us to understand it is protected or not. So what I'm thinking right now, I think that there is always something to do. It's people just trying to hire 1,000 different like Meta, I think, and Nayao can tell it. Maybe he works for Meta, he works for TD Bank, he works for Citibank, and all of those big giants. They hired thousands of people to protect our data, right? I hope so. I don't know exactly. Yeah, so my role today is just a random guy from robotics lab that try to protect his own data and money.
Okay, so usually as we have done this multiple times during the previous episodes, we start with talking about some of historical introduction about the things, how we found out about the regulations, what was our first experience working with those. And well, my journey in fintech started around like 6, maybe 5 years ago. I was pretty new to it. I knew nothing. And I remember that was quite at the beginning of the times when everybody was talking about EULA, about these different financial regulations. SOC 2 has been introduced as well as the security standard. And I remember that, for example, the small startups, they've been ignoring this for quite a long time until different charges have been applied. And that was, I think, the first item when everybody started talking about at least in my world, started talking about the regulations seriously. But Naya, why don't you maybe tell a little bit more about what the regulations are? Why are they being applied? So, for example, for the viewers who don't know anything about it.
Yes. Okay. Because we all care about our assets, and personal assets is one thing, and money is another. It's hard to say which is more important. So that's why there are many regulations. So it depends on the area. There are multiple types of legal terms or types of law that you hear. Probably the most famous is the GDPR and CCPA. As long as when the GDPR was launched, it brings a huge impact to the world. So if business want to do or have presence or do business with the European EU members, or you have any involvement with the EU members, then you really need to comply with the law. And because so many international companies that have presence in Europe, and they also put their data in their data center in Europe, and of course, many countries have their strategy to attract the business. So things do vary, but the GDPR comes into the place to protect the customer data and how the data can be processed, where the data should be stored, and how the like a cross-border data transfer should follow in terms of its like a principles you really need to follow. So there's no way to go in great details, but I would say the EU is doing its best for the interests of its people, the customer, and the clients. And so it does have a very, very hefty fine if you don't obey or follow those rules. So that's something that we can do, that individuals can do, and some rules are more applicable to the business owner. And in terms of the GDPR, there are many principles that people can kind of take away because you think it's personal data, but under some conditions, that data can be revealed, used, or processed by business or banks. If you provide the consent, meaning if you give away your right to release the personal data, the company or the banks can reveal your data. So be careful on what you sign when you go to the bank or join any business. And the second is the contract. Say if you have a certain contract and the contract clearly says that the business can use your data, the personal data, then you are not protected. Or as under certain condition, they can use your personal data. And the third is the legal issues. If you're involved in crime or there's an investigation, you're not protected. The business can use your personal data for investigation or forensic study purpose. And the next will be legitimate. Okay, this sounds funny. Under what situation that your data can be used, processed, if business have legitimate reasons. As people know, no law is really perfect, or it's like the rule on heaven. But it's trying to reach its goal. It's not perfect, so it gives business some gray area to use the personal data. It's called legitimate reason. If the reason is legitimate enough, the business can use your data. And there are two things left, and one is another is the public interest. So say like a scandal, or there's a serious issue, or that brings a lot of fuss to the public, then your data can be really so exposed because people really care. You really attract a lot of people's general public's interest, then your data can be reviewed or used if the general public is interested in your data and get some authority's approval. And the last is vital. Say you're in a situation that is vital to you, say you're in a danger, then of course the police can open your wallet and get your driver's license or ID to know who you are, right? So under those six situation, that your data is not protected. So that is a high level of GDPR, the spirit, the principle that people follow.
It's a great explanation. And the thing that I was always wondering about is what is the purpose of having that many different regulations and standards? So, like, just to list, we have GDPR, we have GLBA, we have CCPA, we have a bunch of different security frameworks being applied. Like, what is the purpose of having that many? Why can't we just have one like unique framework that would be applied all over the continents, all over the countries, instead of creating every single new one all the time?
Can you give me more explanation, please, for just for people who don't have nothing to say about it? Can you just give me that abbreviation, like explanation, what you're talking about? Because I think a lot of people cannot understand what is GPP protocol.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
we're
briefly.
waiting for alien to occupy the Earth, I guess. We have
Yeah.
one rule, one language, one currency,
Sounds good.
one system.
Thanks God, it will happen. I guess. I want new
Yes,
friends.
that's true. That's true. Because um, uh, every country is different, cultural difference, language difference, and has different legal backgrounds, and how people care use data. That's why they have different focuses, and law were passed at different time, different era, based on the culture of the country, geopolitical situation, and of course, how much they care about the data and how much people care about their privacy. So that's the thing. For example, me and you, we probably have different boundary in terms of letting people know who you are, what you have, or what you like, or something behind. Let's do a extreme case, something behind the closet, right? So, see, those are the information you don't want people to know or know too much, and not even your parents. So that's the thing. Uh, Privacy or the privacy law is probably the one I think that is the closest to people's feeling. They talk about the feeling. Of course, you don't really care. Of course, you don't care the type of underpants your wife wears, right? Or vice versa. But it's
I
our
care.
business. So
True.
the privacy law
I
is
care.
the thing so that you do your own business at your free will. You have your comfort zone of releasing the information to the people you feel comfortable to share, right? And for sure, you don't want people to know um, how much you make, how much money you have, where you live, or to say privacy law is the best way to protect you from letting stranger to touch or know about you that you don't feel comfortable. Of course, every country, every culture has different boundary, different limits, and people have different perception. For example, because I'm from Taiwan, and of course, I'm just using a funny example. When you get home, the first question your parent will ask you is, "How much money do you make?" All right, how much money do you make? For sure, you don't want to let them know, but and I had this kind of argument with my parent, my mom, many times, and she was wondering, how come you become so mad? I've just asked a simple question. How come you feel mad at me asking you how much money you make? I just said, I don't feel comfortable. I said, I raised you up for so long. How come you don't tell me how
Uh,
much money you make? See, that's the thing. So I would say, based on different geopolitical condition, cultural background, history, people have different boundary limits and feeling on releasing their data. Especially, you don't want people with malicious intent, purpose to know your data, because data is an access, and people who have bad intention can do a lot of things to know your personal data, say the
I think
login
I think
credentials.
it's not only the problem with the Taiwanese people, older people, to ask the questions about your personal account
Yes, well, are
information.
we married?
For me, my father, when I calling him, I say, "Hey, I create this super space rover that will fly to the moon," and he
Let's
asked me,
guess the
"Hey,
first
how?"
question.
The first question is, "How much money you made from it?" you know,
Yes, that's what I care. Yeah, people
yeah,
care
because
different
they
things.
different generation, they have the different issues of pain, because my father grew up without money. I mean, this is the pain of the generation, I think. So yeah, but I still don't get it. I get it, what is why people create those different kind of regulations, but I didn't get it to who created. I mean, this is the government issue, or it's private companies create the special, for example, group of people who say, "Hey, we need to protect the data of our users," and we call that protocol Vlad, Bogdan, and Nayao protocol, and now we plan to share it in our privacy policy and force people to sign it. How it works?
Yes, that's a very good question. As you know, um, I think I would say in the modern world, uh, like EU or even the California legislation house, right? Uh, to have a law or to pass a law, the spirit is to protect the people, uh, to be away from the danger, any risk, or any damage. But you know how the law are passed. It's it's a delicate balance between the interested group and those ideologists. So it's always a fight and the balance between this interest group and ideologists, or people who have higher hope, wish, and bring the shine, or to protect the right to the people. So they pass a law. So it is a balance, it's an argument, it's a wrestling, and it's the outcome. And that comes the law, terms, controls, and enforcement and penalty fines. So you can always find, of course, it's not the purpose of today's talk, but you'll see the different law has different focuses. Different focuses. For example, the CCPA is very uh, pro business. Let's put it that way. And GDPR is more pro personal rights. And sometimes I have a chance to talk to the UK counterparts when we talk about the law, the GDPR, because the CCPA allows business to use personal data unless you, as a person, as an individual, you go to the business to request an opt out, meaning they can use your data till the moment you tell them, please don't use my data. But the GDPR is the reverse, and the business have to release and tell, and they cannot use personal data unless they really get the consent. That's one thing. So you'll see uh, the law reflects the culture and how business is conducted, and how look at the people's rights and the human right on using data. So the PII is the personal identifiable data information. So if you get that PII, you can do business. And at my, my experience working at Meta, I was sometimes I get to see Mark because he was under the scrutiny from the FTC because he is obligated to talk in the House. I think it's quarterly basis, because a lot of companies, they really use analysis. They analyze people's data to an extreme, because that's their bread and butter, right? Um, there are so many examples, and to be honest, to tell all the audience the importance of privacy and privacy law, why this is related to you, and you can probably find some potential in this area if you're interested in law, or if you're interested in knowing how to protect yourself. Because well, most of us have the robot at home, so I cannot say it for sure, but a lot of time you'll know you're not alone. Let me put it that way. You're not alone. If you have a robot at home, you are not alone, if you know what I mean. So I'm not inferring or saying anything, but seriously, if you have technology at home, uh, those companies can really know what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're watching, and what you're interested, your lifestyle, who is at home when you go out, if you have a dog, pets, because it's constant. And those business have a way of knowing because their ultimate goal is to make money out of you. So they make those robots very cheap. Why?
I
Because
got you.
they
To
get to
collect the
know about
data,
you.
right?
Yes, they want
Exactly.
the
To
data. They
collect
know
data
about
and
you.
to push remarketing on me and sell me something on Amazon. I knew it. I knew that this
Totally.
is the point of all what is it, Amazon Alexa. I always saw why I should use the device to communicate with the internet with the voice. It's not comfortable. It's not effective. And now I know because you just need to have that device to input your data and they can track you better. Yeah. So yeah, it's we're making fun for sure, but still, Bogdan, I will give you the word. Don't worry about it. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to steal your data from that episode. So
Ah,
I still don't have a understanding how it works. So Bogdan, can you explain to me what is the regulation, how they exist? Is that issue first, and after they're doing the regulation, or they thinking about the regulations and after try to protect us? How it
First
works?
of all, I would say that I really like the approach that's usually being applied in the different law schools when they say that every single law has some sort of a precedent underneath it. So
Uh
something
huh.
has to happen first before the law is gonna
I
appear. And
guess.
usually, if any law has been applied, that means that somebody done something like that, and it has led to some bad consequences. And even sometimes, if the law sounds like something crazy, like you're not allowed to, I don't know, put a light bulb into your mouth or something.
No, put the cat in microwave to dry it.
Exactly, exactly. Like
yes.
Oh, this
I
is
have no idea why do they restrict us from doing that, to be honest. But anyway,
Do you know
ah.
there are some big U.S. Business scandals like Enron. That's how and why the GLBA legal regulation was passed, right? And of course, people have their concerns. Voters have concerns, so they contact their deputies, congressmen, House members, or MPs, right? They said, "Hey, we have this concern." So those MP or the congressmen or House members, they'll get together and try to pass a law to please their voters. So it does have some drives, motivations to please the voters. So, but there's another group of people that's the business. Business want to make profits out of the customers or voters. So it's a constant wrestling between the individual's business and legal, and business lobby at the congressman to pass a law to be in favor of the business so they can do business, right? Um, and sometimes uh, some laws are passed to prevent more aggressive business, like hint, hint, hint. We just mentioned that. So when a law is passed, there are a lot of the reasons behind the table.
So basically,
exactly.
we have a congressman that trying to protect the voters and they try to create the bill, right, to pass in Senate or somewhere, and after they try to regulate particular functions or functions of any, for example, the meta services, right? Now we have really big issue with those companies, which is Meta, TikTok, and what else we have there?
Alphabets, all the other ones like
Snapchat. They are they have the issue with the, I think, with congressmen about the protect data protection and protection of the content, especially try to be against the suicide content and all that stuff. They try to force big companies to moderate it better, I think, which is good. I understand it more clearly now, but maybe Bogdan want to say something, because I always distract him from some good words, smart
no,
words.
that's fine. You're wearing the pink glasses today, so you need to share your concerns.
Yeah,
That's
please
okay.
me. Okay.
Okay,
But
and
actually,
one of the question, yeah, please go ahead.
no worries.
Because
Basically,
Vlad
the
has
main
been
idea.
asking one question, and I have the answer for that, and that is very quick.
Yeah, you can go ahead and answer it. I think
Yes,
that's
yes.
you're the specialist.
Regarding the penalty, and that's he asked many times regarding the penalty. Why Meta and some big companies are so concerned and worried about the penalty from GDPR, and even think about their growth strategy, how far outreach they will do business in Europe because of the hefty, the serious GDPR law, is because for a violation, it can cost you up to 4% of your annual revenue of the business for the violation. That's why they are concerned and serious about the GDPR, or even wonder if they will do business in Europe or to retreat out of Europe because of the violation.
It's
And for
4%.
CCPA,
Sorry,
yeah, 4%.
4%,
Or
4%
20
of revenue
million. Yes, 4% of their annual gross revenue.
can be deducted by that the suit process, right? The court process.
Of course. So,
Yeah.
but it's
Wow,
still a
it's
big
huge
number.
money.
Just imagine 4% of your
I
annual
got you.
global gross revenue. So,
Now I understand where the roots coming from.
yes,
All
yes,
about money again, huh?
yes. That's why the big companies are scared. And for CCPA, one violation, an intentional violation, is $2,500. Okay, and for intentional violation is $7,500. Okay, you might think this is not much, but say if your system is hacked and you have 10 million customer data being hacked, just imagine what the fine would be. So
Yeah, you have
so that's the
10
hefty
million
fine.
violations at least.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Better to
violation.
run and hide
Yes.
after.
exactly.
Yeah, sorry, I'll let you continue. But this number is a good in reference to the audience. That's why business are afraid of the GDPR.
It's
Yeah,
a
I
good
got you.
point. But also at some point, I think what's good about GDPR and them, I'm coming back here to the phrase I said earlier about the fact that every single law needs to have a precedent. So basically, as far as you probably know, GDPR was created to replace the DPD or the, I'm not sure what was the correct translation. I think it was like the Data Protection Directive or something. But the idea is that it has been initially developed back in 1995, even before the dot-com era, before internet at any point got popular and so on. And obviously, that's that point where the regulation just could not take the control over all the data exchange that has been happening over the last even several years, even back in 2015, or like what was the first year of the GDPR appeared. And at some point, that's quite a funny thing to me that even though we have such many different regulations, we have that many different security frameworks, one of the biggest and one of the most important data protection regulations has been updated that recently. And before that, we've been living for almost 25 years without being hardly regulated. Of course, we had different scandals, we had different cases of data being leaked and so on. WikiLeaks is a great example. But at the same time, nobody even cared about it for quite a long time. At least it seems so to me. because I'm not sure, maybe Nayao, you correct me, but the first version of the GDPR was presented back in 2016, 2015.
Yeah, 2016, 15. Yep, they're older
So
versions.
yeah, and just to understand, and
2018 was
the
the time.
first, yeah, exactly. I think this was the first time when they started charging somebody for not following the
Yes,
GDPR.
because there's a waiting period for
Exactly.
business to get ready.
Yeah, but what's funny is that, for example, the first version of Apple Siri has been introduced in 2012. And just imagine, so like this gap of 6 years before GDPR has been introduced to the European users was the gap when a tremendous amount of data has been collected without any regulation from your iPhone listening to you on a regular basis. And we're not talking about different Amazon Alexa, Google voice assistant services, and so on, so on. And just imagining that even the amount of data that has already been, if not leaked, but just collected without any restrictions before the regulation has been applied, it's just crazy. And again, referring back to the idea of having some precedents, but I know you prepared some news for today, something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I have a news about not the data protection. Oh, yeah, it's kind of data protection about the bank. So I have friends of they call themselves white hackers. So they are trying to explain. They have a channel and they try to explain to the people what does that mean and how to protect your personal data, how to protect your bank accounts. But all world now going against the Russian hackers because Russian hackers they're protected by Russian Federation. So Russia not take them out from the. If they see that they have a hacker, they just put him. They hire him. You know the government, Russian government hired the hacker. That's it. We have a news from Yahoo Finance that suspected Russian hackers disrupt the market in United States by attacking China and the world's largest banks. So this is the how actually. So my question is about this topic. It's this new topic in November 10 last year. Yeah, it's not so new, huh? Not a couple months, but it's the fresh one of the fresh one. So basically, all the world try to protect their own data. Is it a human factor that leak a lot of data to the systems? For example, how those hackers take advantage on our data, how they collect the data from that storage that, for example, social media has or the bank has, how it works overall.
Oh,
Tough
there's
question,
dark
huh?
web. Yeah, that's a dark web where those hackers
Dark web.
collect, discuss, or store data. And they might put those hacked data in the dark web, which might include your login bank account, login credentials.
Yeah, but how they collect it, how they hacked it, what is the source of it?
From those companies' servers or storage. If they don't have good safeguard protection and they're hackers, they will just simply hack into company's system to steal those valuable personal data or your login information. Or maybe you won't have the login information say this is a login and a password for sure. No. But sometimes if the hackers do have the access or way to get the login credential database, or they encrypt it or decrypt it, then they will get a login. But it has many methods, channels, and access to your data, and placed on the dark web for sale. So, and a lot of time, the data from you or from the company is not so complete, but they can find a pattern to do some analysis to know, okay, he's about certain age, and they can just use the most commonly used 500 password and do a very, very quick check or trial on errors to log into a system. And, cookies, trojans, and virus, everything has a purpose to hack into a system to steal information out of you or out of the company. So those how the personal data or login credentials or things you think uh, is irrelevant to you or so simple or easy to you, why they want to use it, because they want to use it for malicious purpose to get some advantage out of you.
So,
First of all,
sorry. One more thing that I want to mention is that how you can be so protected. For example, if still in United States you're receiving your credit card through the regular mail, how you can be protected from that? I mean, somebody can just take your card from your mailbox and just buy something if it's activated already, for example. So I don't know how. I mean, I know that banks, they have the insurance. They don't care about, they will return your money if something happened with this. Not on any cases, but it's happened. But still, so basically, somebody always try to hack my information from my personal resources, from my computer, from my phone, or from database of big corporations and big banks. Also, we have
Our
the human
website.
factor. Yeah, human factor that leaking a lot of data from, for example, the launch campaign of new product. Yeah, so somebody always lost the phone in the bar, and and show up a new iPhone, for example, to the market. I know it's marketing, but still it's not safe, huh? Okay, Bogdan, you want to?
no, basically that's an addition to your phrase about the human factor. That's first of all, I would argue about the etymology of the white hacker. Like I'm wondering how the people are getting into this white hacking thing. It feels like the hackers are just like in the Lord of the Rings. They have to fall from that huge tower, then they turn into the white hackers from the gray ones or from black ones. But the idea is that
Yeah, the white
as far as
hackers,
I know,
they going against dark hackers to hack them
exactly.
and collect the
Yeah, I
data from
understand.
them.
No,
This
I
is the
understand,
main
but
point.
that's always interesting. What's the purpose of them turning to the white side? Anyway, talking about the hacking process itself, and the thing that I've took out of communicating with lots of people like that is that you don't really need to run a huge amount of different bash scripts or something like that to hack into the server, because the first thing that a good hacker usually does is applying the social engineering, because sometimes it's just enough to find one employee of the bank who is mad at his company because of the layoff or because of them firing him or something like that, and who's ready just to give his credentials until he lost his access to anybody, just even to revenge over the company. And unfortunately, such situation is quite an often one, and this is something that usually, as far as I know, and I read the pretty fancy statistics about that like a couple of months ago, that usually this is the initial purpose and reason of data being leaked, of lots of databases being stolen and put onto the dark web and so on, just because that's really a human factor, but sometimes the correct social engineering is being applied over it. You don't need to try to overcome the cybersecurity systems. You just need to find the weak connector in form of the person who's mad at his company or something like that.
That's very correct. That's how it happens at the banks. And we know, I think 76% of the cybersecurity incident happened within the company or from the human factor, like what you said, social engineering, or simply click a link in the Trojan or a phishing email that can quickly break because your enemy is in your body already and start to steal data and send the information out. So our banks are heavily regulated, uh, the organization with a lot of laws. That's why there's so many laws that mandate the bank to do enough safeguard protection and how they do the business, how they manage the data. So that's why, and sometimes the training is in place. Is that there are mandated training on annual basis to re-educate the company, the bank employees to be careful on how they handle the data, even just the logout. And sometimes not sometimes, the banks have the data loss prevention program software installed to prevent information from going out of the bank. And those program will be able to recognize the information that goes out of the business, including the customer data, customer uh, PI data. So those are the protection, the safeguard that banks have.
He spoke about white hacker something, right? Before, and
Yes,
they
white
just
hacker
hack him.
or ethical
Yeah.
hacker. Sometimes we refer to the blue team and the red team.
Yeah, blue team and red team.
Blue team
The
and
blue
red
team is
team,
good guys.
white
Are
hacker.
good guys, right?
Yes, and red are the bad hackers. And
Why not
banks
dark?
have
Something like a black.
I don't know. Maybe it has different purpose. And there's another team called purple team.
Purple team. Who are those guys?
I think purple team are more of a assistant or neutral, or like a third line of defense, looking at the things, looking at the overall situation to provide guidance or consultation, things like that. So banks have many lines of defense, and for the general practices, there are 3 lines of defense. LOD. First line is the cybersecurity technology owner, the one who owns the technology tool to protect the bank. Okay, and the second line is the compliance. Compliance, or the people who manage, challenge, and monitor the performance of the first line of defense. It could be lawyers or compliance, the regulator specialist. So look at and challenge or give them the guidance. Give the first line the guidance. And the third line of defense is the internal audit or external audit to oversee and supervise the entire safeguard and protection that the banks have. So it's a standard 3 line of defense that happen in most of the banks.
Okay, so long story short, I still wearing my pink glasses. So can you just in couple minutes explain to me why I'm protected and what I should do to protect myself? I think I'm on the middle of understanding that you need to have. Yeah, Bogdan is come back, right? We spoke about the white hackers and the blue hackers, and you just disappeared. I think somebody hacked you, right? You click on some link with the free software.
Basically, that was mostly of a human factor. I forgot to schedule the studio for a longer time. So
I got you. So
it's just
people just
engineering again.
threw you away from the window, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
So that's why I'm sitting here, like with my legs, trying to walk again.
So again, the last question that I have now is: can you explain to me that what we should do, like human beings, to protect ourselves, our data? First, I think that 70%, like you mentioned, if it's in social engineering, so I think it's good to know how to protect yourself. This is the first. So I want to take out my pink glasses about it, and and what you should do overall in our bank systems to increase that security process.
Never click the phishing links in the emails. That's the first thing you should do, I think.
The link about the guy from the Nigerian prince that give you a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Like for some reason, I think it doesn't work like that. I'm not sure why, but something tells me that they never give you this money. Not sure, maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I never click. I should click once, I think, to understand if I have that money or not on my account. But you need to provide your personal account information there before. So it's
There are
tricky. Be careful.
two driving force in human nature. One is love, the other is fear. So those malicious hackers or scammers, fraudsters, like what you mentioned, the Nigerian prince, see, they use a love. And another driving force is the fear. That's usually love and fear, or just to say greed, or
Yeah,
to
greed.
avoid
Yeah,
the
this
danger
is the main, I think.
human. Yes, yes. Love scam. So that's the thing. Or money scam. I said somebody's a princess or in a prison or waiting to ship the money out of a country. Please work with him. Right. So I met so many scams. Oh, not love scam. Fortunately, I'm here. So many times, people need to be careful on 2 things. Where is your fear? What are you afraid of? And the other is love or greed or your need, because those malicious people will always attack your weakness. One of the things you mentioned about the perfect protection, the reality is there's no perfect protection in any business. There's always weak spots waiting to be attacked or to be penetrated. So always be on alert. Take care of your money, wealth, information on your own, because company can simply walk away. They use their legal services or authorities to get away. So people should be on their own, know their interest, and find a way to protect their own data and money. They can only do to a certain point, certain level, but it's not perfect. If they really want to do bad thing or go bankrupt, good luck.
I got you. So it's better to take off the pink glasses because what we can realize here is, I mean, the 70%, like you mentioned, we have coming from ourselves, right? From our greediness, from the love, from the faith. Um, yeah. So what I think you need to do, I think we need to increase the level of understanding and the security education in the and for the people who are using it, because for example for the older generation like my mom for example, they are clicking on everything that they receive. They don't care. They think that everything is true from the internet, you know. They just people calling them all the time and ask them about the money and ask them about the yeah, about new features that you can upload to your account to make more money, like $1,000 an hour or something. So it's always the so I think it's what we should do is go for education about the social engineering stuff, and about the fraud, about scam, about phishing. So people just need to be familiar with that and have the steps. Also, we need to have education what you should do if you got scammed. I mean, if somebody took your money already, what you can do, how you can, where you need to call, right? Because first time somebody did it to me, I called to police, and police told me, so we cannot do nothing because you just pay them by yourself. So how you can protect it if you did it by yourself? Nobody took it from you, right? You can just provide your personal information of your bank card. That's it. So yeah, what do you think about the education? We can solve that problem with education.
Um, Education is important, not necessarily going through a very rigorous or formal education, but bearing a risk mindset is important. Everything has danger, everything has a risk. You'll never know what's going to happen on the next day. So always think nothing is perfect, nothing is, or no system or company or the website or technology will protect you 100%. So you always need to know, what if I lose this? How much you can bear with the loss? And the second would be, maybe it's hard to say. Sometimes the oldest way is the best way.
Yeah, the
You don't need
notes.
to
You know,
keep
you have a
data.
notes.
Yes,
keep
or
keep your
use
notes on the
the
paper even.
cash. Exactly. Or you use the tree leaves. No, that's the thing. And there's no secret. I would say if people can take something away, I would say there's no privacy. Seriously, even though we talk about privacy today, we talk about technology today, but they're not perfect. And for sure, there's always a way to know your private information. If you ever walk on the road, there's always something that's left on the road. So
Okay,
that's my thought. Training,
this is
yes.
smart.
Learning, yes. That's my thoughts.
And the notes on the paper, right? I mean, my wife doing it. I always make fun of her about it, you know, because all her passwords inside one like a piece of paper or something. But she always know the password. I forget about all my passwords all the time. That's why I need to use just one everywhere. Just kidding,
There's
just
some
kidding.
apps for password management,
Yeah,
but they know your password. See, that's the thing. So
yeah.
there's
This
no
is
perfect
again,
solution. They become the greatest
again.
danger.
Yeah, okay, Bogdan, you can summarize it. You are out from that perfect studio.
Yes, but anyway, I don't know. I think we discussed quite a lot of things today with all the different aspects. The main outcome out of this whole meeting is that we need to write all our passwords on the in the notepad. Anyway, I don't know. I would like to hear your opinion, Vlad, about like, were we able to convince you about the need of all these regulations, whether this is important or not? And did you find out anything new about it today for yourself?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, what I discover in my mind that this is all regulation. They going around a huge amount of money all the time, and I'm kind of feeling protected because if people want to raise money from me, they having an interest to save them, right? So, for example, bank has the interest to save my money because it using my money, for example. So I'm kind of relaxing a little bit about it, and yeah, for social media and for social networking systems, the money around it too, the huge amount of money and courts, and they can lose a lot of money with those regulations, which is not bad in case when you are in fault, but it is the process, and it's nothing is perfect. Yeah, like Nayao told me, and we need to understand that everything, like 80% of everything that we're providing to internet is not protected. No, the best solution. No 100 working solution on that case. So everything needs to be from you, and you need to think. You need to have your brain to understand it. This is my summary.
Even.
Amen.
Okay, well, I think this is the great wrap up for everything we discussed today. Well, I'm gonna let you finish this podcast today, so because every single time I'm doing that, telling to subscribe, to hit likes, and so on. But let's change something this time. So I'm gonna pass this on to you.
Oh yeah, please subscribe, put some marks, write the comments, like us, and also what we can do next time. I think we need to talk about how the AI can help us to protect our personal data and to help banks to predict the scam and the fraud. I think this is really good technology to protect the AI. Yeah, thank you very much Nayao to show up. Okay, thanks guys to show up and take out my pink glasses.
Thank you.
Thank you. See ya at the next
See you next time. Bye bye.
See you next time. Bye bye.